Making America Great in 30 Seconds. Biden, Trump, and me. History will remember. This is what we're gonna talk about today. Hello there, I'm Elena. Welcome to my channel Enough of Propaganda. Please share, like, subscribe. Let's make truth available for everyone. I am originally from Russia and from the USSR, but I live in Canada and I'm Canadian citizen for over 20 years now. And today I'm gonna perform basically miracles and fulfill everything I promised in this video. I visited over 42 United States and seen America firsthand. I have lots of friends of Americans in America, Americans and immigrants in America. I love Americans. And today, ho ho ho, no, it isn't Christmas, but it's maybe even better in some ways, because I'll give you a gift. I'll make your country great in less than 30 seconds and prove it. Literally, I'm not kidding. I know some of you don't believe me, but that's too bad. Let's see how it happens. And no, for that I don't have to be your president. Don't worry, you don't have to elect me. You can't, even if you wanted to. And I don't have to be Lincoln or any of your famous presidents. I just being me, a person from a different country. From two different countries, in fact. Even three, if to count USSR, where I was born. Let's get to it. Here's a stopwatch for you. I hope you can see it. Let's make America great. Simsalabim abracadabra. Here it is. You're great already. What it is, 9 seconds? Something like that. Less than 30 anyways. I did it. You saw it. Now let's prove it. This site is Transparency International Corruption Perception Index. I showed it to you before, but let's look again. So let's see what the United States. Well, Canada is 76 out of 100. United States 69 out of 100. So the closer to the 100, the less corruption in the country. United States ranked 24th out of 180 countries. It's doing really well, especially to compare Russia, which scores 26 out of 100 and ranks 141 out of 180 countries. See, Americans, you are very great already. You have very low corruption. In February 2024, there was an interesting article in The Atlantic by Roger Karma. What would it take to convince Americans that the economy is fine? When it comes to prosperity, Americans trust feelings more than facts. We are not gonna do that. We're gonna trust facts. Oh, here's International Monetary Fund. Let's talk about American economy. And this is press conference which was in June 2024. First, on the performance of the US economy, it has been remarkably strong. Activity and employment have exceeded expectations, and the disinflation process has proven less costly than most feared. The US is the only G20 economy whose GDP level now exceeds the pre-pandemic level. This is good for the US, and it's good for the global economy. We expect growth to be a healthy 2% on a fourth quarter over fourth quarter basis, and sustain a similar pace in the medium term. US Department of Commerce. By the numbers, US economy adds 206,000 jobs as consumer prices dropped in June. You're welcome to read it yourself. GDP for the nation increased at an annual rate of 1.4% in the first quarter of 2024, according to the third estimate released last month by BEA. And we'll go to the sources. This is BEA. Gross domestic products, product by the state and personal income by the state, first quarter 2024. Real gross domestic product increased in 39 states and the District of Columbia in the first quarter of 2024, with the percent change ranging from 5% at an annual rate in Idaho to 4.2% in South Dakota, according to statistics released today by US Bureau of Economic Analysis. This is who is BEA, Bureau of Economic Analysis. And so on. Current dollar gross domestic product increased in 45 states and District of Columbia, from 7.8% up to some states has 4%. Personal income in current dollars increased in 50 states, from 9% at an annual rate in South Carolina to 0.6% in North Dakota. And more on economy. You could see the list of countries, even Wikipedia know that, by GDP. Who is number one? United States. I personally prefer list of countries by GDP per capita, so it's per person basically, which is in my opinion more important because some countries has a lot of people, some countries like Canada, big country but not many people. Here is United States is 6. Canada 17, number 17. Germany number 18. Russia is number 65. So don't talk to me about how well Russia is doing. Another Atlantic article by the same author, Raja Karma. The US economy reaches superstar status. No, really? Let's see what he has to say. This is a kind of my summary of what he has to say. But we will have a few quotes. If the United States economy were an athlete right now, it would be peak LeBron James. If it were a pop star, it would be peak Taylor Swift. 4 years ago, the pandemic temporarily brought much of the world economy to a halt. Since then, America's economy performance has left other countries in the dust, and even broken some of its own records. The growth rate is high, the unemployment rate is at historic lows. Household wealth is surging, and wages are rising faster than costs, especially for the working class. There are many ways to define a good economy. America is in tremendous shape according to just about any of them. So, economy is one of the parts of America being great. That's why we're discussing it. And we're not gonna stick on it very long, but you need to know the facts. And the facts are overall performance that United States economy is performing exceptionally well. Akin of top of athletes or pop stars, let's say that way. As to pandemic recovery, US economy recovered robustly from the pandemic. Right now, American economic growth rate is an envy of the world. From the end of 2019 to the end of 2023, US GDP grew by 8.2%, nearly twice as fast as Canada, 3 times as fast as the European Union, and more than 8 times as fast as the United Kingdoms. Over the past year, some of the world's biggest economies, including those of Japan and Germany, have fallen into recession, complete with mass layoffs and angry street protests. In the US, however, the post-pandemic recession never arrived. The economy just keeps growing. Another important factor, the unemployment rate. It has been at or below 4% for more than 2 years, the longest streak since 1960s. Even that understates just how good the current labor market is. Unemployment did not fall below 4% at any point during 70s, 80s, or 90s. In 1984, the year Ronald Reagan declared its morning again in America, unemployment was above 7%. The most of Clinton's boom in 1990s, it was above 5%. And now it's at or below 4%. Wages and cost of living. From the beginning of the pandemic to the end of 2023, median hourly wages increased by more than 26%, outpacing a 20% rise in prices. Lower-income workers, by the way, saw wages rise 4 times faster than middle-class workers and 10 times faster than the richest workers. So wage inequality has decreased significantly, with the lowest paid workers gaining the most. Real wages for low-income workers have seen most significant increase since 1940s. Household wealth. Median household net worth increased by 37% from 2019 to 2022, the largest increase on record since 1989. Significant wealth gain was seen across all income brackets, particularly among poor, middle class, black, Latina, and younger households. So, dear Americans, see how I made you great. You're welcome. Of course, I couldn't do everything for you, could I? So, there are a few challenges left as well, and challenges are that housing costs remain significant issue. And prices on it rise from like 400% since 1980s. High cost of housing, childcare, healthcare, and education continue to put middle-class lifestyle out of reach for money. Despite economic gains, the US still struggles with lower life expectancy and higher levels of inequality, poverty, and homelessness, compared to other wealthy nations. But you know that about you, and this is what you have to work on. But in conclusion, I could say that US economy has a remarkable 4-year run, judged against both its history and international competition. But a few years of good news isn't enough to make up for 40 years of rising inequality and stagnant wages. But it's a whole lot better than the alternative. Also keep in mind that, of course, you can't attribute it to one leader or another in power, to the president of some sort. Keep in mind that economy growing slowly. Yeah, you don't have to thank me. Of course, it was a joke, as you understand. But the fact is, if you start to verify information, then you will find out the truth. And whatever during one presidency or another is accomplished, if we're talking about economy, most of it could be attributed to few presidents ahead. So some of it because of something done in Obama administration, or maybe earlier earlier but not later. So whatever economy did during Biden administration time, we will see more later the effect of it. But even immediate effect of something done during pandemic, many of it was done right. And the real people who actually did all of this are you, the Americans. As to the army, comparison of armies, I recommend this interesting video on the channel Inside Russia, made by Konstantin, who is not inside Russia anymore, of course, but he has an interesting video. It said, does the American army stand a chance against Russian army? And you'll find out what exactly the difference between the armies of America, United States of America, and Russia, for example. And I would say, let's see who is number one army in the world. And again, this is the United States. I could say I made America great. Just now, right in front of you. I snapped my fingers, I said magic words. But did I really? No, I didn't. So, this was just a joke and a miniature exercise how to verify information. In this day and age, all the information is out there. The world is knowing the truth. The world knows the truth. And so can you. It's that easy. Just verify information not only from me, but from everyone. Otherwise, if in the past some leader of some tribe has to kill the mammoth, bring the food to the table, fight in the jaguars to prove that their leader who capable of feeding his tribe and do something good, now all you have to do is just lie. Just say everything is garbage, everything's so good, so bad, oh god, awful. Then you snap your fingers and say, wow, I fixed it. Now everything is wonderful. I am the greatest leader in the world. And everybody, ah! This is what I just showed you. So you can welcome to show my video to any troll or any Putin supporter or anybody who is lying to you about that America isn't great. America is in one of the best times in its history. And I'm not saying it's because of Biden or because of somebody else. It's because of you. Because of American people. You made America great. Your ancestors made America great. But your duty right now is to make sure it's still great. And it will be a good democratic country. So defend Ukraine, defeat Putin, choose unity. That's what I suggest. Now let's say a few words about what is really important. About really important news. On July 21st, which was just a few days ago, American President Joseph Biden wrote a letter and said that he is not gonna be trying to fight and become a next president of the United States. He's just leaving the race. And meanwhile staying as a president. And he endorsed to his Vice President Kamala Harris to run for the presidency. You all saw it, you all already heard the news. What I'm trying to say, what I just proved you, is that United States of America is a number one, basically, military and great country, military superpower, economically superpower, and a nuclear superpower. And that makes Joseph Biden, who you elected to be your president, to be basically the most powerful man in the world. So this letter is showing that democracy exists, democracy works, to give up that kind of power. It's not the power Putin has. Putin doesn't have a real power. His nukes might not even working. By the looks on Russian army, it's highly likely it isn't. And I did a deep research on that and I know it isn't. But America, United States of America, is a real power in the world. To give up that kind of power for the sake of your country, this is what real democratic leaders do. He gave it up voluntarily. And no party influence or anything like that, it doesn't matter. He is legally elected president and he could have stayed in the race and nobody could have done anything about that. Yet he chose not to. And nobody can remove this from history. This is a historical event, huge historical event. Please remember that this is the real proof that democracy exists and it thrives. Because in that great country, president just said, well, I decided I'm not gonna run for next time. And nothing happened. Everything is good. This is what a real democratic leader will do for the sake of his country, for the sake of people in America, for United States. United is a key word. Unlike some people who cling into power and bringing death and destruction onto the people of their countries. I'm talking, for example, about Putin, who cling into power that badly, then he keep fighting the war he's lost. And over 500,000 Russian people died. Meanwhile, former American President Donald Trump showing up with his wounded ear, but meanwhile he isn't much hurt. It's a firefighter who died, actually, for him. And cleaning up to that power, Donald Trump instigating attack on the Capitol, where a few Americans died and so on. He is not the one who will give up power again. This is the person who died. Cory Camperatore, who was killed after a gunman targeted former President Donald Trump at a rally. And Trump is alive and well and making publicity out of this tragic event, which I condemn. Meanwhile, this man will never come back to his family, and he is the one who actually died. The attack on former President of the United States was a terrible, tragic event, and what I suggested in my videos, previous video and in this video, let's just calm down and wait until the authorities will find out what actually happened, and we will get all the facts. Please don't jump to conclusions and start to blow things out of proportion before you find out what actual facts are. After the Biden announcement, some Republicans who have honor and guts, like Mr. Romney, issued statements in support of what happened and appreciate what Biden has done. Some of another Republicans with low moral standards now call on Biden to leave the White House and trying to kick him when he's voluntarily give up that kind of power in the future. Yet he's a decent, very good president, and he's still in his power and in his rights to continue his term. But nevertheless, some of them already trying to divide the country and trying to make problems and so on. So it's up to you to stand up for what is right and defend your country and defend your democracy. What I'm trying to do is just give you information and point you in the right direction where to find good and reliable information. One of it is a new book of Anne Applebaum, a historian and author. And this book is now available. I'm gonna buy it today. It's called Autocracy Incorporated. I have lived through 2 dictatorships in the USSR and in Russia, and I know this is firsthand. And I agree with Anne Applebaum. She is a Pulitzer Prize winning author. And she is saying often, for autocrats, the second time in power is worse. I do believe in Trump's case, this would be the case, because He is already convicted on some crimes he committed, and he doesn't want to go to jail, and he will do exactly what Putin does, anything possible to stay in power. That is why it's up to you, not help him to make it happen. All I'm asking you to do, please verify the facts and defend your democracy. Learn the truth and stay informed. Thank you for watching, have a great day, and you're welcome, America!